Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble News channel. You have an economy from the 20th century going on a broken system with bad assets. You can also take advantage of a digital chance to run your business on digital cash that is always available and will be useful for 10,000 years. It works for everyone, right? There is no level above or below that it doesn't work for if you want to know how much something is worth in 20 years. Look no further. There are more and more signs that Bitcoin's price is about to go through the roof. Some analysts think it could hit $66,000 by September. It faces strong pressure around the $61,700 mark, though, which could slow its progress. Bitcoin has been stuck at this level of resistance, and it's still not clear if it will be able to break through. If Bitcoin does break through this important $61,700 level, it will be a big step forward in its rise. In a recent interview with Roman, well-known Bitcoin trainer Michael Saylor talked about how he went from being skeptical at first to realizing Bitcoin's power to change things. Saylor talked about how Bitcoin could change the capital markets by creating a fair and safe financial system and replacing traditional assets with digital ones. He also stressed that Satoshi's idea of Bitcoin as a conservative, unchangeable financial ledger that keeps value without losing energy was a key point. Saylor disagreed with the science basis of traditional monetary economics, saying that it often leads to investment theories and business financing methods that are less reliable than they should be. You can learn more about what Michael Saylor said to Roman by watching clips from the interview. If you want to see more videos like this one, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post alerts. Have fun with the movie. In 2013, I didn't have a need for Bitcoin and I didn't know much about its technology or its ideas. I just made a comment like a casual smart person. Over the next 7 years, I think the main thing that changed was that I needed Bitcoin. Needing something is the most important thing. I make jokes with people. I say that Bitcoin is for people who need to know. You're not going to look any further if you don't need to. The COVID lockdowns were the first thing that happened in 2020. If you want to know what really happened, just think about how the world economy stopped working. We had to try a lot of new things when the economy stopped and the buildings closed. Like Zoom or talks that you can hold from afar. I suddenly agreed with things I had turned down for 10 years in just a couple of days because I had to. They see Amazon and everything and think, hey, it's got to work. Why do we need Bitcoin? What do you think makes people get Bitcoin wrong so often? Take a step back and look at the big picture. I believe that most experts don't even understand money when you look at it. The Austrians were the only ones who really understood money. That being said, the Austrians did not have the internet, electronics, or encryption. In theory, perfect money is a shared, real record that can't be changed. No one in history has ever made a shared, real, unchangeable record. The only things that came close to being real money were gold or a credit system run by a wise king. That being said, Bitcoin isn't an example of a shared, permanent, true ledger system or fair ledger system that is conservative until Satoshi makes it. And when I say conservative, I mean not losing energy but being thermodynamically or physically conservative. Since we never had real money, I don't think that any economist who was taught in the classical tradition could have come up with a physical or mathematically sound understanding of monetary economics. Then, since monetary economics doesn't have a scientific or physical basis, there isn't really a scientific base for economics either. That means that everything that comes after, like the idea of corporate finance and investments, is also not based on science. So you have people working on what you might call a particular solution to a problem, but not the homogeneous solution to the problem, a set of rough rules that only work for a certain amount of time and under a certain set of assumptions is the specific answer to the problem. It looks more and more likely that Bitcoin's value will go up a lot as the crypto market continues to change. A well-known supporter of cryptocurrency named Michael Saylor recently said that while previous generations had their own problems, this time of plenty leads to new possibilities. It's his opinion that Bitcoin is starting a change in the capital markets by providing new ways to keep and grow wealth. Saylor says that Bitcoin is changing the way capital markets work because it is a safe way to store value. He says that people should use low-interest loans to buy things like Bitcoin, which has grown by an amazing 500% every year. Saylor says that people who are new to Bitcoin should spend 100 hours learning about it before they put real money. He also agrees that borrowing money can be a good idea in some situations, but he warns people not to use short-term plans or too much leverage. Saylor says that buying Bitcoin with stock could lead to big returns, which makes now an important time to think about investing. Here are some more clips from the talk with Michael Saylor that will help us learn more. In the past of people, starvation has been the main cause of death. We are no longer going hungry. Metabolic sickness is the main reason people die today. Either we eat or drink ourselves to death. I believe that having too much leads to trouble. And Bitcoin is a form of digital money. It fixes the capital markets and lets you hold on to money for 3,000 years instead of 30. Okay, so it extends the life of your capital. Instead of shaking it 10 times a year, you could shake it 100 megahertz. It's something much faster. High-frequency oscillation and long-term economic life are two things we have. That being said, we still don't know how to handle benefits. How should we handle the fact that people don't agree on global warming? Our views on foreign affairs are different. A family of one could borrow money through a government-backed bond for 30 years at 3% interest if they owned a lot of property. This was possible in the US 2 years ago. If you could do that and bought Bitcoin, which is going up 55% a year, it would be smart to borrow €1,000,000 or dollars, pay 3% interest on it for 30 years, and then put it into something that's going up faster than 3%, right? That's how you really get rich. That's the best way to get rich, right? Basically, you go with leveraged, long-term, attractive property. You could borrow $100 million to buy a $100 million building, and then let inflation raise the building's value to $200 million. You just made $100 million on $5 million of stock. How can I turn $5 million into $100 million? To buy something that will go up in worth, you have to put up $5 million in equity and borrow $100 million to cover it. That's what MicroStrategy has done. To put it simply, we did it with digital real estate. I mean, Bitcoin is the most sought-after thing in the world. We did it before anyone else understood how this worked. Of course, I'm telling everyone, and some will follow through, but, they say that everyone gets Bitcoin when they earn it. And you have to learn about Bitcoin for 100 hours before you can value it as a digital asset. It only takes 100 hours of work to figure out that it is valuable property in cyberspace. After that, it's a very easy task. You use your cash to buy it, you pay for it with the money you make, then you ask, may I borrow some money? And you should be fine if you can borrow money with terms that mean the loan won't be due for at least 4 or 5 years. If you're going to borrow money, you don't want to take on 10x mark-to-market debt because that's short-term capital. You could lose everything on fluctuation. So short-term notes, like capital notes, are not a good idea, but 10-year, 20-year, 30-year, and 7-year notes should not be mark-to-market. That is a great thought then. If you can get money through selling shares, you could buy Bitcoin with the money. For example, if you owned a chain of supermarkets or restaurants in Germany and could sell 500 million euros worth of shares, your supermarket would probably grow by 3 to 4% a year. Bitcoin is going up 20% to 40% a year. It's the same as buying a digital company that keeps growing by 20% to 40% a year. Recently, Bitcoin's trend of building up has investors' attention. The accumulation trend score from Glassnode shows that Bitcoin users bought a lot more coins last month. This move back toward collecting shows that people are becoming more confident in the market. The score looks at market action using a heat map of different groups of Bitcoin holders. It gives useful information about how people feel about the market and what the trends are. One interesting thing about this trend is that almost a quarter of all Bitcoins were bought between $58,000 and $73,000, which shows that there is a lot of demand. Since around $300 billion worth of Bitcoin has been bought in this range, the market seems ready for a price rise. Crypto's Tai 10 says that in the 4 months after a price halving, Bitcoin has always finished higher than the price that was cut in